Welcome to Hamilton County TV. I'm Perry Williams, and today my interview is with Ryan Bunnell, the head baseball coach at Westfield High School. Welcome, Coach.
Hi, thanks.
Well, Coach, let's talk a little bit about baseball's already here. In fact, you had a game last night. I know you had a scrimmage last week, a controlled scrimmage, and then this week you had a ball game last night. So let's talk a little bit about that. Then we'll talk about the team.
Yeah, we played North Central last night, and it's funny. We learned, I guess, got another lesson in just how this game works. Sometimes you think you have yourself figured out, and then the game shows you that you don't, I guess. But we've had a really good off season, and I felt like through the off season that our pitching has been a strong point for us, throwing a lot more strikes, just doing a lot of good things on the mound. I thought we were taking care of the baseball really well, a lot better than we did last year. That was certainly an Achilles heel for us last year. We only fielded like 92.5% last year, so that was an off-season focus, and really liked where we were in those two facets of the ball game. And the one concern has been offensively, like were we going to be able to produce enough runs, and so we come out and sure enough we commit 6 errors last night and 10 walks and hammer out 14 hits. So everything that we know about about things goes out the window. It's one night, but we certainly didn't play real clean baseball really on either side. I think if you talked to Andy, he was, I'm sure, disappointed in how they played as well. They had some opportunities probably to take us out, and they weren't able to do that because of some miscues themselves. So it wasn't a real clean baseball game. It was a long night. The combination of all three of those make for a long night when in baseball. So we still have a lot of work ahead of us, but we did enough good things. It was good to see us offensively. I thought for 5 innings we really grinded out good at bats, kind of let some get away from us late in the ball game, and some things out of our control that we let try to control us. But once I think we'll be okay on the mound then. We're chalking it up as a night and we'll move on. But something to build on. Still a lot of work though.
Yeah, it's always interesting. Of course, you always have to remember you're dealing with 16, 17,
yes,
and 18-year-old youth. So,
yes.
So you have that situation.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit. You've been around this program for a long time. In fact, you're starting your 21st year here, and this program has been a success for a long time.
Oh, thank you.
But let's talk a little bit about the 2023 Westfield Rocks.
Okay. Like I said, we felt like and do still feel like we're going to be able to compete. We lost a lot of talent in 2022. Had some really strong seniors, a good senior, very talented group out of them. So we certainly have our holes that we're still figuring out, and what we're going to look like. And what we've been telling the guys is that we have to understand who we have to be successful, and we can't try to be something else. And so we're trying to really be, really clearly define that for them, who we need to be, who they have to be, and what we have to do to be successful. And we feel like we're making progress with that. So I think we'll be okay. This conference, though, it's so tough. There's Division I arms on like every team, so it's going to be a test day in and day out. We're excited about our Knoxville trip that we have coming up. Playing some really good teams down there to help prepare us, going into the conference play past the first series. So I think we're poised to be able to compete, and we return some guys that will, have been solid producers for us offensively. Colin Lindsay returns. Colin has been a really good producer. Would have been a 4-year starter probably for us without COVID, his freshman year, and I think he hit 380. Hit 6 home runs, was a really nice producer for us last year. Evan Russ returns as well, so 2 guys that'll be in kind of the heart of the order for us. Both committed going to playing college, and really good producers. Evan's really grown from his freshman year till now, and is an offensive producer, and so we'll look for even bigger things out of him. He was in a role last year; he didn't have to be as big a producer, and so now we're going to rely on him a little bit more this year for sure. We've got Braden Hibbler as well has been in the lineup since his freshman year for us, and so he's a junior. Got off to a really good start last night as well. So we'll look for big things out of him, and just being consistent defensively. He's got that potential to be a really high-level defender at shortstop, and he's had a really good offseason, so we're looking forward to seeing him as well. Then a lot of new faces as well. We got a junior, Alex Rudolph, that's worked really hard in the offseason, had a good night last night. We've got actually another senior, Nick Alm, that's going to be stepping into a greater role for him this year. Splitting some of the catching duties. He's going to catch in college as well, and then also maybe playing some first base for us too. We got a young sophomore, had a really nice night. Had a really good off season. Matt Drozlik, really like his bat, and he's probably progressed faster than we've expected offensively, and just has probably been one of our most consistent offensive personnel so far in the offseason. He's really just consistently given us good at-bats all through the offseason, and even last night really had a big night last night too. So we're excited about him, and as I said, Alex Rudolph. Got another senior, Eli Manbeck, that's going to be kind of battling it out, and Caden Lindsay and Drew Law, two sophomores, for some time in the outfield, and Austin Knott, another senior, will be battling it out as well. We're going to still have some question marks. Ian Wilson, a sophomore at third base, and Tyler Gentry, another junior, kind of battling it out in the infield for some time as well. So there's still some healthy competition going on and settling in positions. Ty Anderson, who's also a pitcher for us, is going to play some infield as well. Finding out the right rotation and the right matchups for him and things like that, still stuff that we have to figure out. Returned some good arms on the mound. Jacob Culp was really successful for us last year, had a sub-2 ERA, and was kind of in our 3 role, is going to kind of step into to lead the pitching staff this year. And I think he's really improved a lot in the offseason. He's a hard worker, puts a lot of time in, and he's really had a really nice offseason. Throwing a lot more strikes, secondary pitches have sharpened up, so we're pretty excited about him. Ty Anderson is gonna pitch for us as well, kind of in a pseudo starter reliever role. He was really, really good in that kind of closer role for us last year, so we're trying to see if we can keep him in that. Colin Lindsay is probably going to pitch a little bit for us, and it's a delicate thing when they also catch, but we got a luxury of having a really good catcher, 2 of them, right, with Nick Alm too. So we think we've got a good plan in place to take care of his arm, and we're going to slowly build him up and allow him to pitch a little bit more. So and we may end up kind of like the Tampa Bay Rays and some of these teams, and kind of have an opener being Colin Lindsay, and then finishing out the game with Ty Anderson there in conference. And then we've got Seth Nana, who is a senior for us, left-handed pitcher, going to pitch in college as well. And we're looking for big things out of him. Preston Tam, junior, has really progressed and has had a really, really nice off-season. So we're looking for big things out of him too. And then it's just kind of we got a bunch of young arms that we'll look at. Caden Lindsay, Owen Swinford, 2 sophomores that have the potential to be really good arms for us as well. So we're pretty excited about this group. It's a different group than what we've had the last couple of years. We were pretty talented. Obviously having Gage Stanner for a draft and some others. Those are tough people to replace, but I like this group and I like the direction they're headed, and we think some good things are ahead of us this season.
One of the things you mentioned, and I was totally impressed with Colin Lindsay last year behind the plate, and for him to be a 3-year starter. That's a catcher's a very important part of a baseball team, especially with the pitching staff.
Yeah, and I think that's where I think if you talk to to our staff. Again, we're pretty fortunate. Colin Lindsay has been catching a lot of them for a long time, but even having Nick Alm back there, I think they've got confidence in both of them, and the two are great. There hasn't been a lot of times in high school, particularly dealing with kids of this age, right, getting them to understand and what healthy competition is, and that keeping that team aspect, the team before themselves kind of outlook with things is tough. But those two have been great. I think they work really well together. They both help each other, compete against each other, but will both do anything for each other. So that they've been great there. And yeah, we're really fortunate at the catching position. It's going to be a lot different next year when those two move on to the next level, because we've had them in our program for so long, doing so much for us, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, let's talk about the coaching staff, because I know that you have several coaches that's been with you for a while, and that has a lot to do with your success and the team's success.
Sure.
Are your assistants. So talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, I've got one turnover this year. We've actually had two from varsity from the last couple of years. Cody Young and Jason Van Skyke, who were both with us for 4 years. Things in their lives changed where they had to step away. Think they'll be back one day. I keep telling them they only get to go for a little while. They got to come back. But we had to replace them. And Wes Faust is a middle school teacher. Pitched 6 years in professional baseball and collegiately, and he's come in and he's done a really nice job. What he's been able to do and get and develop with the staff, the secondary pitches, has been really, really nice. And I think they're starting to think early on they kind of were like, what's this guy having us do, and forcing them to throw some pitches and counts in the fall that they weren't comfortable with, and I think they're starting to see what he's doing and some of the success that we've been able to kind of pull out of the staff so far in the off season has come a lot from what Wes has done with them, so we're lucky there. Bill Lindsay's been with us for a long time and is now coaching catchers the last couple of years. We had Mike Hansen for a long time, and he kind of took over for him and has done a really nice job as well. And Jake Hansen, Mike's son, who was our first All-Star, has been coaching infielders, which I'm an infield guy, and it's hard for me to give that up. There's very few people that I would turn the reins to infield play over to, and Jake's one of them. He's was an outstanding infielder for us and at Purdue, and it's been great having him back. Love having former players come back and invest, and we got another one. Matt Zmick, who graduated in 2007, is back with us in his second stint coaching, and he's working with our outfielders and has been really great there. And of course, we got a lot of JV staff. I don't know if you want me to go into them or not, but they work so much in the off season with them. Joe Mushala, Aaron Beaver, Jason Hall Manley, Kevin Entwistle, Eric Espinoza, Bryson Spangler, and Nick Davis all have put in a lot of countless hours, and just to have a staff that size is really, really fortunate to have that. All good, great men, great role models for our players, and pretty good baseball coaches on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, I think tomorrow night you open the Hoosier Crossroad Conference.
Yes. Okay,
with a 2-game series against Franklin Central. But let's talk a little bit about the Hoosier Crossroad Conference, because it is the premier conference in the state of Indiana, or maybe in the Midwest, as far as teams and caliber players that everyone has. Yeah. So talk about the difficulty it is, because basically year after year it's just everyone beating up on each other, and if you can sweep a series, it's a big deal.
It certainly is. Partial to when we had the 3-game series, I really liked that. It was a lot of fun, and you really saw us beating up on each other through that, which was part of the fun of it. It was kind of who could persevere, and just winning the series a lot of times was a big thing. If you swept a series, was a really big thing. And so now we got the 2-game series, which is still fun and highly competitive. I think 7 of the 8 teams in the HCC are ranked in the top 25.
Yes.
To start the year. Just about every team has a Division I arm, at least one. If you're Zionsville, like something in the water right now, they've got like enough we could all borrow from them right now and still be in trouble. So yeah, that's what's so great about it, is that we get tested day in and day out. There's no days off, and I think it teaches players that they have to, they have to show up every day and they have to prepare every day, and I think that helps them down the road in life too, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's been a growing experience for me in my first few years in it. We were a small school, kind of growing into the conference, and now we're able to compete year in and year out, we think. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it doesn't get any easier after you get done with the conference play. You're in Sectional 8, which are all conference teams except one, and it happens to be Carmel, which Carmel's very, very strong this season. Yeah,
it's out of the frying pan into the fire type thing. Yeah. So, which is, I guess, that's what's great about the conference, is it helps prepare us for the tournament play. And I don't have, kind of shooting from the hip here, I don't have exact data, but I know that so often, at least every other year, if not every year, the team that comes out of our sectional makes a deep run in the playoffs. So a lot of times, just getting out of Sectional 8, then we're able to make a run. So that's always the key, is just trying to prepare for when the tournament time comes, and then try to make sure you're playing your best and try to get hot at the right time. And in a one and done tournament, it's you got to have some things go your way, I think. And so you try to do everything you can to create an environment where those things can go your way, and then you hope that you get to go on a ride.
Absolutely. And then one thing that you're doing a little bit different this year, this is the first year you've done this, is you're taking a sort of weekend trip, which is kind of like we have so many players in our league and they play college baseball. So this is kind of a setup like they're going to have once they move on to college baseball, because they'll play a 3-game series and they get on a bus and they ride somewhere and play a game and play 3 games. So it's much like that. And talk a little bit about what you're going to do next week.
Yeah, so we're taking a trip to Knoxville to play in the Farragut tournament there. It's a really prestigious tournament. Noblesville and Fishers has played in it in the past, and Justin and Matthew were both great in helping us kind of get all our ducks in a row for this and to get into it. So owe them, certainly grateful for their help in that. And we'll leave on Thursday morning on the 6th of April and travel down to Knoxville. We'll stop along the way and take some batting practice at Moeller High School, and we're going to ride in a charter. We've fundraised for a charter and be able to, kind of do what you said, give the kids a college experience. We're going to have team meetings at the hotels and take them through and experience really what you would get on a weekend trip in college, for sure. And playing some pretty good competition as well. We got good pasture. Christian, who was 41-5 last year, off to a 6-1 start last I saw. I think they're ranked 6th in Tennessee. We play Hardin Valley, who was I think 6-1 the last I saw as well. And then you got I think Bradley Central is the other. Lost me there for a second, out of Cleveland, Tennessee. So we'll have that in our pool, and then if we happen to win the pool, we'll get to play in the semifinal and a final. We 4-game guarantee and potential for 5 games in 3 days. So we'll have to go pretty deep into the pitching staff. So we'll find out what we got there, but we're sure looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great time for our kids to come together, get to travel, be around each other. Doing it at this time of the year is a really beneficial thing as we start to kind of grow together for the season. So been a long time coming. We're looking forward to it. Yeah,
and I think for the viewers that are not familiar with baseball in that Tennessee area. Most of those teams, by the time you get down there, have already played 10 or 12 teams. And they've actually, most of those teams that you've mentioned have already played out of state, down in the Alabama and Georgia area, and they played in tournaments there. So you got some pretty experienced teams there, and Farragut is a household name as far as high school baseball. I mean, they got tons of talent there, and everybody in the East, there's a lot of good teams. So it'll be a good experience for the team.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun.
Well, Coach, before I close this up, I want to ask you a couple questions. Number one, this is my fourth interview of Hamilton County coaches. I've talked to Kiefer and Cherry and Corey Sides, and I don't consider Corey a new coach.
No, he's been around for a while.
He's been on the sidelines probably longer than most of all of us, because he was raised on the sidelines at Hamilton Southeastern, with his dad being a great coach there at Southeastern. But one of the questions I'd like to ask you is what do you see, and you've been around for a while just like all the other coaches, but what do you see different in high school baseball in Indiana compared to 10 years ago?
Quite a few things, to be honest, and several come to mind, so trying to kind of funnel it into just a few of them, I guess. But I think you've seen the growth of travel baseball in the off season. I think most high schools used to have kind of their own summer team, and for the most part, everybody goes and plays travel baseball now, which I think has been a good thing. There's a lot of good travel organizations, and it's opened up some opportunities for exposure for them that make it a little easier for the kids. So that's a good thing. Just schools in general, I think it's not just for baseball, but for all athletics, just the facilities that are available to them through weight rooms and things like that just continue to get better and better. And so that's producing better baseball players. We've got 2 guys on staff now that are, throwing in the low 90s, and if you had 190-mile-an-hour arm, you were in an elite level. I think back to 09 when we were in the state championship, we had Kyle Cramp, who was anywhere from 88 to 92, and then we had Taylor Luna, who was probably 88, 89, and we thought we had a wealth of arms, like of high velocity arms. So the amount of velocity that we see particularly in our conference, day in and day out, is certainly exceeded where it was 10 years ago by a long shot. It's kind of scary to think if it continues to progress what we're going to be seeing, because, man, there's some explosive arms. So there's that. I think just the athlete itself has changed with social media and things like that. I think getting kids to buy into the team aspect of what we're trying to do, it's almost in high school becomes so development based, which I understand they're all wanting to get to the next level, and there's certainly an element of that, but to not lose sight of putting something like the team, that's the greater good of everybody before yourself, and the benefits and what they learn from being able to do that has become more of a challenge, I feel like. So just different. I don't think it's bad or anything like that. It's just we're having to change our approach a little bit, maybe focus on that a little harder than we had to in other years. But there's been quite a bit that's changed in these last 10 years or so. It's a good thing. There's a lot of really good talent. I think Indiana baseball as a whole has really under the radar. And if you look at it like across the United States, I think we match up really, really well with most states.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm always amazed, because I spend a lot of time on recruit sites and things like that in baseball, but one of the things that has amazed me over these last 10 years in Indiana baseball is we're seeing a lot of kids getting offers or getting looks, and from Indiana, the kids going to the SEC, which is the premier baseball conference, being down there, and that there's a lot of great players that are getting offers down there. So that's been amazing to me.
Yeah, for sure.
But I really appreciate you taking time on this interview and everything, and have a safe trip down
Thank you.
in Knoxville. And it's an exciting time. And Hamilton County TV, I know we have on our schedule a few games that we're going to come over here in Westfield. And of course, when you come to Noblesville, we'll do that game there at Noblesville,
Sure.
Noblesville, Westfield. So we will definitely have you on Hamilton County TV. So
Okay, well, we appreciate that, and we appreciate all you guys do for high school baseball. We think it's a pretty fun sport, and like I said, it's high school baseball in Indiana is alive and well, and it's we appreciate all the coverage that you and the spotlight that you put on it.
I appreciate it, and good luck.
Thank you.